What's up, everybody? Let's get going. We have BatchDriven live. Do a quick countdown and we will get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Let's get going. Today's going to be a ton of fun. We're revisiting a topic that we have talked about before, but I think it is so important especially for all the folks that you're just getting started. We have the one door away challenge going on right now. And a lot of folks are like, well, I just don't know where to begin. The reason why this challenge is even going to exist is to help you bridge that gap, right? To help you get from trying to analyze everything, trying to figure everything out to getting your first deal. Because let's face it, your first deal is so much more than the money you're going to make. The first deal is paradigm shifting, life changing, changes your mind. It changes everything. And it makes this business real for you, right? You see other people get checks. You see other people making money in this business, but you're like, why is it not working for me? Why is this not working for me? I'm trying all these things. I'm doing these things, right? The purpose of doing these lives and what we're going to be talking about today is to give you guys actual action items that you can start doing today. So as you guys start joining, I see a lot of folks starting to hop in across all the social platforms. Please comment, what market are you in? Like, what market are you in? Are you across the United States? I know we have folks all the way from the far Northeast all the way down to the Southwest. So I would love to see where you guys are at, what is working in your business and what is not working. Are you using BatchDriven? Are you using it on a day-to-day basis? Have you implemented it into your business? Where are you at in that process? How can we help? The reason why we do these lives is not so I can hear myself talk or to get a few likes on the video. It's to serve you guys. It's to serve you guys at a high level. How can we help you in your business and give you real things that you can do? So without further ado, let's hop right into what we want to talk about probably for the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to be talking about door knocking, right? This is something that is not the shiny object. It's not something that everyone's going to want to do. But with that, it creates an incredible amount of opportunity if you're willing to step out of your comfort zone. Not only will you'll feel better, the anxiety wall kind of goes down as you go over time, you get more confident in yourself, but you change as a person, as like in being quick on your feet, as being a salesperson too. You learn crazy amount of skills in a short amount of time by knocking on doors. Earlier this morning, I was talking about marketing on my personal stream, and I was talking about cold calling and SMS. Everyone's there. Everyone's cold calling and everyone's SMS. We certainly do it, and so does everyone else because it's super duper cost effective, and you should be doing that for sure, right? But again, if you don't have the money to pay for those things and you have time, how can you make this work? How can you get deals when people are spending way more money on deals? How can you etch your way into getting into this industry and getting multiple deals, right? And you do that by hard work. You do it by your time. And then even to that end, we still door knock today because of this one factor, right? Everyone's here. We are certainly there too. But what are the other folks not doing, right? I was talking about radio ads this morning. We tried that. It didn't work that great. But we are always in this part. We're always door knocking. We always have someone driving for dollars for us. We always have someone trying to reach distressed owners at their property because no one else is doing it, and especially not at scale because it's not the easiest thing to build up, right? It's not the easiest thing to build a door knocking team, but we still have this as a integral part of our operation because it works so well. Again, it's not the sexy thing, right? It's not the Facebook ads or push people to your website so you can get the pay-per-click, people calling you who want to sell their property. That is amazing. But people spend a lot of money for those leads. So you make your way here by doing what the other people don't want to do. So please, guys, as you hop in, let's start putting some questions in here because we will get into Q&A probably the last 10, 15 minutes, okay? So getting started with door knocking, I'm a big believer in it because I can speak on this stuff because that was me, right? Before I got started, I was a real estate agent. I was actually a real estate appraiser too, and I was trying to analyze everything. I was trying to figure out, not just, what was the marketing thing and what was the one thing I should do to get started. Look, every guru is going to tell you this is the thing, right? There's so many shiny objects. Do this, do that. I got a deal doing this. I got a deal doing that. And the challenge as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, whatever you want to consider yourself, it's so hard to stick to the course, especially when the course is challenging, like door knocking, right? It's hard to not get the shiny object like, ooh, let me go do that thing. Ooh, let me go do that thing. But I can promise you, if you stick to this one action, you are going to get some deals, right? And it changes absolutely everything. So I was analyzing, I was trying to figure out what to do to start. And trust me, if there was something easier to do, I would have done it. I promise you I would have, because I mean, I didn't have the money to spend, but I definitely had the time. But I was just trying to arbitrage the money that I had and figure out where I can put it somewhere so I can start getting some leads. Anything, for God's sake, anything other than knock on doors. But then I realized real quick that something had to change, right? I wasn't making any traction in this business. I had one foot into the retail side, I had one foot into the wholesale side, thinking that I can do both. And my wheels were spinning. Nothing was happening, right? And it wasn't until one day I woke up and there was a gift for me on our dining room table. It was in August, right? And I'm like, why? My birthday isn't until December. It's not Christmas. I don't like, why do I have a gift? And I felt bad because my wife had got me this thing. And, it was just sitting there. So, oh, I got you something. I'm like, well, what in the world? I didn't get you anything. Like, I feel bad. Like, what is this for? And it never dawned on me until I walked over to the gift at the dining room table. I opened it up and I pulled out a baby shirt. It was a baby onesie with a pregnancy tag. And she says, oh, surprise, I'm pregnant. Right. We've been married for like 3 or 4 years at this point. And I was like, holy shit. So I need to do something right now. Right. I'm going to stop trying to be too fancy, because I was trying to be fancy. There's no way around it. I was trying to do anything other than the hard work. I was too fancy. And I realized just right then and there, okay, I got to go door knock. I got to get in front of some people who wants to sell their property. And I think that's all of us. I feel like that's all of us who are here today that are watching this live or maybe watching it on playback. We already know what we should be doing. We already know the answers to our question. We know that if we want to be in this industry and we want to start getting some money, we have to do the hard things, right? And we know, like, this is not the first time you heard about door knocking. I can guarantee it. And it's not going to be the first time you heard about driving for dollars. But why haven't you done it? I can talk about this stuff till I'm just blue in the face, and 99% of people won't take action on it. It's crazy. And then a lot of folks ask, oh, Matt, why are you giving your script? Matt, why are you telling them exactly what to do? Because I know most people are not going to do this, regardless of what I say here today. But I can promise you, if you do, and you do take action on it, it'll change everything. And again, it goes back to, we already know the answer to our question. We just got to start doing the thing, right? We got to start making the thing happen. So for me, that changed everything. I realized that I had to hit the ground running. I had to start doing something right away. And the best way to do it is to start having conversations with homeowners, right? Getting in front of them, getting in front of people who would at least hear what I had to say. And I think the apprehension for me was always there, because I'm not the natural extroverted person. Let me go network with 1 million people. I kind of like doing my own thing, right? So it didn't come natural to me going up to a door I had never done this before in my life, right? It didn't come natural to me to go knock on a door and try to figure out have a conversation with someone. Was not like, my heart was beating out of my chest. Absolutely, I was going crazy. I was sitting in the car making every excuse not to go knock on the door because I was just afraid of what was going to happen. Like, oh, what if they don't want to sell? They probably don't need my help. They already have this thing figured out. They might have a gun, for God's sake. I don't know what's going to happen, right? But the craziest thing was the result was the craziest thing, because I walked up to the door, I left everything in the car, didn't approach the homeowner with like anything in my hand. I knocked on the door and they opened it. And I messed up that conversation really bad. I had all these things planned I wanted to say. My heart was beating out of my chest. It was probably pretty pathetic, to be honest. If I was in the homeowner's shoes, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this poor guy. Do you need some water? Do you need some? Right? It was probably horrible. But what was awesome was I overcame my fear of doing it. And then I realized it wasn't near as bad as I thought it was going to be. I walked back to my car thinking about all the things that I messed up, sitting there doing some research. Like, oh, what is a loan modification? What are all these things? and I learned by doing it. And after like 100 to 150 doors, I got pretty good. I got a pretty good understanding of the foreclosure process here in Arizona, right? I didn't do any prior research. I didn't watch a YouTube video telling me about all these options. I didn't do any of that stuff. I learned simply by talking to people and just going, oh, yeah, got it. Okay, so working with the bank, perfect. Uh huh. All right. Well, hope you have a wonderful day, right? Okay, what does it mean? What is a loan? Like I was doing this, I was learning while actually taking action on it. And that's what I, implore all you guys to get started is, man, stop trying to be too fancy with it and start getting some conversations with homeowners. Now, for me, this was the answer. I didn't want to sit behind a dialer. I'd rather be in the car, especially here in Arizona, the sun's always out. It's nice outside. I'd rather be out and about having conversations with someone, not leaving it up to chance of them answering their phone from a random number. Because I know me personally, I probably wouldn't answer a random number, right? So you got to ask yourself that question first before you even think about door knocking. Where are you at on that spectrum? Do you have more time than money, or do you have more money than time? And for some of you guys, you don't have any money and you don't have any time, right? You're going paycheck to paycheck, and that's still okay too. Because if you don't have money and you don't have time, I promise you, you can still make time for this. Even if it's an hour or two after you get off work every single day, or an hour or two before you go into work every day, or if it's just doing the weekends and doing a ton on the weekends and working your face off on Saturday and Sunday, knocking on doors. There, if you're serious about this, because let's be honest, we're talking about big checks here. We're talking about big money. This is life-changing money. You can make more money in one deal here than you can in a year working in like a typical paying job here in America. It's insane what you can do, but it's a matter of how willing are you to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation? What are you willing to tolerate, and how far will you push yourself? I equate it just to like working out, right? Like when you start feeling the pain, that's when you really start to grow, right? And it doesn't just come from one workout, doesn't come from two workouts, right? This is a cliche thing, but it's the truth. It comes with consistency. I mean, I can attest to this because over the last year and a half, I got lazy with my workouts. I was doing this business and this was like my only focus, and my health started going like I gained a crazy amount of weight. And over the last 2.5 months, I've lost 58 pounds because it wasn't from one workout. It wasn't from two workouts. It's being consistent. I'm in there every single day. Every single day you got to show up. So if this is the thing for you, if door knocking and you don't have the funds to pay for a whole team and virtual assistants, I talk about VAs obviously because that's how you scale, but you're not at that level yet, right? And that's okay. Look, no one's judging you. There is no judgment. It's okay to not be there quite yet because you're going to go there. I promise you. If you're willing to do this, you will get to that level 100%. But how can we take you right now to get there? A lot of people make the mistake of trying to scale a business. It doesn't exist. I need to set up my systems. I need to have a CRM. I need to have this autoresponder. I need to what do I need to do? When should I hire a VA? Could I get a lead manager? All these things. You shouldn't even be worried about that right now. What you should be worrying about is the work that you can put in that's going to get you to that place, right? What can you do today to get to that place? So that is where you start, guys. Do you have more time than money, money than time? Answer that question for yourself. Now, this is very important. We're talking about door knocking pre-foreclosures. So I didn't just go out and door knock anyone. I started by what's a really small list that I can get through, right? So for you guys, and I don't know your market, okay? But if you're going to go out and door knock, you need to pick a really niche list. And maybe there's not enough foreclosures right now that you can go door knock. But look, there is about to be a crazy amount that's going to hit the market here. Who knows? 6 months, 12 months, whatever. This is a skill that you're going to want to get really good at now. So when that does happen, you can start training people, right? And you can maximize your efforts. And we'll talk about that next week. But just as you're getting started, this is such a useful skill to start developing within yourself, not just, being a better salesperson, being a better negotiator, but quick on your feet, but learning the foreclosure process for your particular state is going to be absolutely crucial for the coming months, because who knows when these things are going to hit, but they're definitely going to be coming soon. So this is where you start. You door knock pre-foreclosures, and if there's not enough in your market, you door knock driving for dollar properties. You can get those by virtually doing it or by physically doing it, right? A lot of folks that I talk to on a week-to-week basis, they don't have the enough foreclosures, and like, well, who else do I knock? Do I go back through the foreclosures again? So you should be driving for dollars, and the really, 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 really ugly ones that are owner occupied, go knock on their door. And if they're not owner occupied, go to the mailing address and knock on that one, right? Get in front of someone. That is where you start. Now, but in particular, pre-foreclosures, you are a problem solver. We're always a problem solver when we're talking to homeowners. If someone's going to sell their property at a discount, guys, they got to be a little crazy. I think you guys agree with me. There's got to be something going on. Their property needs a bunch of work. A property or their life is really messed up, right? Pace says crazy sellers have crazy problems and we make crazy money, right? So we're always a problem solver, but in particular foreclosures, when you knock on the door, you are the specialist. You are the person that can help them. Everyone is calling them trying to buy their property. Everyone is texting them trying to buy their property. They're getting mailers, they're getting all these things. I can't tell you. Actually, I think I posted on Instagram like 3 months ago. I was in a seller appointment, and as I was like sitting there in the living room talking to him, he had like all these mailers sitting there with people that I know here. I'm not going to name drop, but people that I know had sent him mailers and was just kind of hoping for the best. Like, these people are getting mail, they're getting called, they're getting text, and now you're showing up at their door, right? So the last thing they want to talk about is selling their property. The last thing they want to talk to you about, they feel like you're going to jip them, right? And you're a complete stranger. So how do you overcome that, right? And as a specialist, as someone who's knocking on pre-foreclosures, you got to disarm that right away, right? Obviously, we would love to buy every single property, but we can't buy a property for someone who doesn't want to sell it, right? We talked about this before as well. If they wanted to sell, they would have done it months ago, long time before, right? So they're obviously at this point because they're trying to either keep their house or their head is just that far in the sand. We don't know which one it is. But 9 times out of 10, if they wanted to sell their house, they would have already done it, right? Or they don't have the provisions to move on or somewhere to go. So how can we help them, right? And when we knock on the door as specialists, I address that right away, right? Say, hey, just obviously I confirm I'm talking to the right person. He said, look, I know you're getting called and text and just bombarded with people who want to buy your house. I'm not here to buy your house. Are you aware of what's kind of going on with the lender? Yeah, got it. Well, again, I know people are wanting to just buy your house, steal your equity. Like, I'm assuming you're here because you don't want to sell your house. Exactly. I don't want to sell your house. Perfect. Well, I'm here because I think I can help. Right. And that is as simple as it has to be. Because again, I want them to know that, yes, I mean, of course I would love to buy the house, but I'm not there at that moment, at that day to buy it. I'm there like, how can I help this human being? And we've talked about this on previous lives as well. It's, man, like, I don't want to buy the property from someone who is not in their best interest to sell me their property. There's been plenty of times we've gone on appointments to where, I mean, I can think at least of over 12 times that I've been on appointments where the seller, like, really, I could have got a deal out of it and I could have made some money, but it wasn't the right thing for the seller. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I just want to be happy and I don't want to be a piece of shit, right? Like, it's about how you do the business. I don't want to make a bunch of money by just taking advantage of people, right? So from these folks that I had talked to, yes, I could have made a good deal out of, but it wasn't in the best interest for them, their family. They got kids that go to school in that district. They don't have a job. So how in the world are they going to afford a rental? Where are they going to take their family, their kids? Like, how is this whole thing going to work? I don't want to buy that property. How can I help that person keep their property? Right. Of course, I'm not a law attorney. I'm not, I don't know everything, but at least I can point them in the right direction. And there's been plenty of times where I've said, well, maybe you might want to consult, legal counsel on this one, but maybe it might be worthwhile to go down to the bankruptcy court, right? File a chapter 13 and keep your house, right? So, and then we've done that, and I've talked about stories in the past where we've done that. And this guy named Hunter, I just remember this one so much because I remember his kids were just like running around as we're sitting in the living room, and he was like kind of tearing eyed. He's like, "Man, I just don't know what to do. I guess I'm gonna have to sell it." And you guys seem like subject to might be the right answer here, yada yada. And I'm like, "Well, Hunter, subject to might be the right answer for me, but I don't think it's the right answer for you. So maybe you should think about doing this, right? Wink, wink. This might be the right thing." He goes down, he does what he has to do, and he calls me back. He's like, I am so grateful that you helped me out, even though there's nothing in it for you. Right. And that's what this business is about. And that's why foreclosures and door knocking is so much different than anything else. It's how can you help people with where they're at? We're just meeting them where they're at. And how can I provide value? Because number one, yes, I don't get the money, but number two, I get amazing emotional income, right? I feel good about that. I feel really, really, really good about that. That makes me happy. And it gives me purpose too. But guess what also happens? In the future, if they ever want to sell that property, who are they going to call? They're going to call you, right? If they ever have anything that they ever need regarding real estate or whatever, they're going to call you. So we're building long-term relationships by providing real value to people. So number one, you got to understand that if you're door knocking, you are the specialist. You are the person that is going to help these people solve their problems. Even if you don't get paid for it, you're there to help solve problems. That's it. Very put simply, that is the way it goes. Okay. Now, whenever you do get a deal, right? And the reason why this is so powerful, right? You knocked on doors, you're talking to people in foreclosure, you've been doing your thing and you've been helping some people. And whether you got paid or not up to this point, the most powerful part about door knocking is yes, you're getting repetitions. Like, look, again, after like 150 to 200 doors, guys, I was a completely different person. I was way more confident, right? I mean, hell, even just the thought of talking in front of a group of people 2 years ago for me was like, oh gosh, please no, right? But like you get so good. And in this business, it is so important to be able to communicate, or really any business, life in general. You got to be able to communicate. So the powerful thing is, yes, you're going to start making some traction. Yes, it is so simple, but you're making it complicated. It is so simple. It's just like right now, pull a list of pre-foreclosures, go knock on their door. That simple. But most people won't do it because it's a very uncomfortable thing. So number one, you're overcoming your fears for most people, right? I don't know anyone where this is just supernatural except for Alex. We had a door knocker. His name is Alex. For him, it was just like he can just do it all day. But for me, wasn't natural. So you're overcoming those hurdles, right? And you're becoming a different person in 150 doors, 200 doors, right? You're getting all the sales skills. You're quick on your feet. You're proving yourself. You're going to do whatever it takes. For me, this was the cost of entry. I thought that I needed to do this for a long time just so I can prove that I'm serious about doing it. So you're doing all that cool stuff. But then the end result, right? The end result of getting your deal. I don't know if you guys like follow Pace on Instagram, but back in September, 2 years ago, he has a picture of me holding up my first check, right? I made $12,000 on my first deal. Pace made 12. I made 12, right? I JV'd with him. And that money wasn't just like, yes, $12,000 is a lot of money. Yes, that is the truth. And I accomplished that within 30 days, being consistent, knocking on doors. So who in here would $12,000 change your life? Who in here, like, I know that's a rhetorical question, but it's just, it just blows my mind, like how simple this can be, because everyone has this finesse. Everyone has these techniques. Everyone has these things you can do. But honestly, if you're willing to do this one thing for 30 days straight, there's no way that you don't at least, if you don't have a contract, you don't at least have a pipeline of 4 or 5 or 6 deals, right? Of people who were ready to sell their property. So I got that first check of $12,000 and it was amazing. The money definitely changed my life, but it also was a paradigm shift for me. And I realized that I can make this happen. And the actions I took to get my first deal, I'll just do it again and I'll do it again. So my first month, I got that first deal. The second month, I got deal number 2. The third month, I got deal number 3 and 4. And on the fourth month, I had 17 deals in 1 month. Right. But it was just doing one thing. I was still door knocking. I didn't stop at 1. I didn't stop at 2. I didn't stop at 3 and 4. But that month of 17 didn't happen because of what I did that 1 month. Right. It wasn't the doors that I knocked in November that gave me the 17 deals. It was all the momentum that I built up over 90 days and all the conversations I had over 90 days that made that month happen. And then it just carried over to December for 15. And then I had the real momentum heading into the new year, where I was like, okay, we can make this thing work. We can continue. We can scale this thing now. We can really build this thing out. But my costs were minimal. I wasn't carrying some crazy overhead. I didn't have a bunch of virtual assistants at that time. I wasn't spending a crazy amount of money on data. This is a big thing, guys. The data isn't going to get you the deal. The big data set is just going to cost you a bunch of money. If you don't have the manpower to get through it, if it's not you, one VA can't get through 20,000 lines of data. One VA can't get through 15,000 lines of data. You want to pick a small amount of people that you can focus on. So it's tough when you get your first deal not to go shiny object, go buy a big list and buy a bunch of virtual, hire a bunch of virtual assistants, and your business is going to all of a sudden start running like clockwork. It doesn't work like that, right? So here's real things that you can do. If you always keep it niche, if you always keep it small, you can make a incredible amount of traction in your business in a very short amount of time. Very short amount of time. So you don't have to go spend a bunch of money. And the reason why I can talk about this is because that's what I did. I got that $12,000 check, 6,000 of it went to a data set, and I hired a virtual assistant. And guess what happened? I didn't get anything from that data set, and my VA didn't give me a single deal because I was like, oh yeah, perfect. One VA, one deal is going to happen. Didn't happen like that for me. All of a sudden, I had to go right back to, well, I got to continue doing what I'm already doing. I never stopped door knocking pre-foreclosures. I just thought that this big data set was going to give me more people to talk to, more leads. Didn't happen that way for me. I shut that list down because it was bogging down my VA. They couldn't get through it multiple times. Went right back. I kept the VA, went to my pre-foreclosure list and had them call them over and over and over and over and over while I was knocking on their doors. And that is how I got the traction, right? So you got to pick one thing. And that's what this one door away challenge is, guys. If you're not a part of the one door away challenge and you are watching here today, I think we have about 60 some odd folks watching us. If you're not a part of the one door away challenge, it'll be live April 1st. So it restarts the first of every month. So now that we're kind of in the middle of March, you can't hop in right now. It'll start again April 1st. And if you are not in by April 3rd, then you have to going to wait till May. And then it just starts over every single month. But if you want more information about the One Doorway Challenge starting April 1st for the next group, please email me, mattbeard@vahub.com. Again, I'm going to put it here in the comment section. It's just Matt, M-A-T-T-B-E-A-R-D, vahub.com. And we can get you information on the One Doorway Challenge. It's real action items every single day. So real things that you can do every single day that's going to get you closer to your first deal. Because it's not just a deal. It changes everything. Guys, look, honestly, I'm not saying this to be cliche. We are one conversation away from a completely different life. That first deal that I got paid $12,000, completely different life ever since. It changed everything for me. And it's hard not to get emotional over it because the life that I live now was because I was willing to do that. Right. And that one conversation I had with Mr. Craig Lotka changed my life, and it will forever. And I want that for everyone. I want that for everyone here today that is watching these lives, and you've been learning all this content, and you've been you consume everything that comes through, right? And you've been watching Pace's videos and all these other influencers, and you come here and you watch BatchDriven live, and you watch Bryce's stuff. I want you to understand that you can watch all the videos. You can do all these things, but if you're not going to put it into action, nothing happens. And it's not going to just happen for you. You got to do the things that's going to make you uncomfortable. But if you're willing to do that, it'll change everything for you. So how do you get started? How do you start doing this? Right? You can start by logging into your BatchDriven. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you're already a member of BatchDriven. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you guys this. So this is our door knocking script. Okay. So this is what I would give to you guys. If you guys don't have this script, I'd be happy to provide it to you. This is for our foreclosures, right? Talking about how we approach that conversation. This script really works because it's the real one that I've used. It's the one that I have put together. These words on here are my words. Right? This is a great script. Now, the challenge is, again, guys, as you get started, you're going to forget this. And this is just going to go in one ear and then out the other, because whenever you go knock on a door, it's just going to go blank. You're going to lose it. But if you can practice it with repetition, you'll understand how the conversation needs to flow. If you don't have the foreclosure script, guys, you can email me at the same email and I will make sure that you get a copy of it. So you need to be equipped with a few things, right? Get that script, practice it, understand how these conversations should flow. Don't think that you need to know everything about your market. Don't think you need to know everything about the foreclosure process. You will get that by making mistakes, but you have to start making the mistakes. You have to get started now before you can do before you can really start getting some traction. So get that script, guys. I'm going to make sure you have it. If you email me, I'll make sure we get it over to you. Hopefully most of you folks who are on this live already have that script and you're implementing it, right? Don't just collect a bunch of stuff. Don't just collect a bunch of scripts and say one day I'm going to use these, or one day this is going to be nice to have. Like, it's Friday. This is one of the best days to go door knock. Saturday, amazing day to go door knock. Sunday, amazing day. You can legit take this script and start door knocking today and start making some traction in your business. Hell, you might actually, who knows? For me, it didn't happen this way, but for some people it does. Like, you might actually get a deal or a really great lead just from one day of door knocking. It could be absolutely insane. And then I want you to come on here next week and say, Matt, oh my God, I went out and door knocked and holy crap, I got a great lead, right? But this is one action that you can take. Don't worry about all the other things that's going to distract you. Don't think you need to have like this perfect system, okay? Don't think that you need everything in place. The only thing you need to do is go find a deal. And this is a great place to get started. Now, if you guys are using BatchDriven, I'm going to share my screen here one more time so you can see the BatchDriven one. So if you guys are using BatchDriven, I live in Gilbert, Arizona, right? So I'm just going to type in Gilbert, Arizona. I can go Gilbert and it will give me filter options. I can just click on the pre-foreclosures, right? And I can save it in a folder. So maybe I want to add a folder, right? Maybe a new folder. Where is this new folder? Here we go. And maybe I'll just say March pre-foreclosures. I'll hit save. And I will now take this folder wherever it went. Let's see. You guys might see it. I may be skipping over it. But oh, here we go. Perfect. Right at the top. So I'll click save. Gilbert, Arizona. How many properties do we have that are in foreclosure? I can zoom out, and all the ones that say new are pre-foreclosures. It's loading them up right now. So you can hop on BatchDriven today. Now that you have the script, you've emailed me, you got the script, or maybe you had it from the past. You can hop on BatchDriven and you can find the foreclosures in your market. You can start by city. Okay, here they are. Now they're starting to populate. All these are properties that are in pre-foreclosure. I can go right now and I can go knock on these people's doors, right? Looks like we've already knocked on a few of these. This is amazing, right? Clicking on the property, get all the property information, phone numbers, all these things. You can use this app to be super efficient. Guys, when we got started doing this, we were using spreadsheets and MapQuest, and that wasn't even that long ago, right? You can use this app to be super duper efficient with your door knocking. It's not just for driving for dollars. Like, the purpose of driving for dollars is to get property, so then you can get that homeowner's information. So then maybe they'll answer the call when you call them, or then maybe they'll answer the text. What's better than that? Than being at the property and getting in front of the homeowner right away. So then you definitely know you have the right person. So if you're willing to have the courage to step out and do the things that most won't, you can really start getting some traction. I implore you to start utilizing the script. I implore you to get BatchDriven. If you haven't already, there is a link where you guys can get, I'm going to stop the screen share. There is a link where you guys can get the free week. So there's absolutely no obligations, which is insane. So you can start utilizing the script that you just got, and you can get a free week of BatchDriven, free week to go out and start door knocking and see what traction you get without ever getting charges. And then when you do, it's $49 a month, $49 a month to use this app, to be efficient with your driving routes, to pull the pre-foreclosures, to map how many miles you've driven, to keep notes of the properties that you have door knocked. Oh, I spoke to homeowner John. John has a dog named Pickles. Pickles, is missing an eye, but he really wants to, he needs to take him to the vet. He doesn't have enough money to take him to the vet or whatever, right? You can keep your notes in the app. You can take a picture of the property at the front. You can mark it as a hot lead. You can mark it as not interested. Like all the things is so powerful. And the map is like very interactive. So it's constantly updating with new data. You can tap on a property to get all the property information right then and there, literally at your fingertips. It's insane what this app can do. But just for the purpose of this, don't worry about everything else. Just for the purpose of driving, for knocking on doors, like you can be efficient. You can go right now and find homeowners that are in distress and get in front of them. Super duper powerful. So start taking action on it, guys. I'm going to start answering some questions here because I see some coming in. If you guys have any questions that you want to get answered specifically about door knocking, please put them in the comment section right now. And we'll get through as many as we can, let's say in about 5 minutes. So Facebook user says virtual versus driving. So driving's always going to trump virtual, always, because the virtual, you're relying on the photos and the satellite view, right? So which one, typically the satellite view is updated more regularly, but there is no better way than to actually go out and physically see the property, right? But the challenge with that is the time part. So if you have a bunch of time, then dude, definitely go out and start driving for dollars. But if you don't have the time, virtual is still a great option. Just understand that the only hindrance there is how old are the photos from Google Street View, and then also double checking with the satellite view. And it just kind of takes some time to drive through the streets on Google Maps there, how it integrates within the software. It takes some time to do it. I just personally would rather be in my car, but you can do it either way for sure. And I mean, we have a deal from one of our virtual assistants. He's in the Philippines and he did it virtually for us in Phoenix, and we got a $50,000 deal on it. And it's actually on my Instagram too, so you guys can actually see we got paid 50 grand on it, which is insane. So you can do it either way for sure, but I think it's just fitting into your schedule what you can be consistent with, right? New Jersey been paying for it, but not really used well. Barbara, start using it. Oh my gosh. Like it's such a powerful tool. Even if you don't do anything other than add 25 to 30 properties a day, virtually driving for dollars, you're going to have an amazing list by a month, by 2 months that you can start marketing to with text messages, which is super cheap, right? Getting a virtual assistant to cold call, get your family member to cold call so they don't charge you any money and just say, hey, we'll split some deals. Cousin, aunt, uncle, whoever, you're going to have a really, really, really great list, right, of properties. So get started, especially if you're using for it. Come on. Let me know how I can help you, Barbara. Is the skip trace more accurate than other sources? So Peggy, the skip tracing comes from batch services. So the same data that you would get from skip tracing it in batch leads is the same data that's in BatchDriven. So we use batch leads for all of our data needs. So the phone numbers are good. Now, take into account if there's 3 or 4 phone numbers attached to a particular lead, there's probably 2 or 3 of those are not the right number. So, but there should be at least one that can connect you with the person. If it's not the homeowner, maybe it's a sister, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a daughter, a son, someone that can get you in touch with the homeowner. San says, how many times do you ring a bell or knock on the door? So typically I'll knock maybe 3 or 4 times. I try to spend about 3 minutes at the door. So I'll knock, stand back, wait, ring a doorbell, stand back, wait, knock again, stand back, wait. So, I mean, this is really big, right? Your door knocking is only going to be as efficient as you are and like how diligent you are with getting someone to answer the door. If you like tap, 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 no one's going to answer. So you're not really doing much. I have never gotten a great lead from follow-up notes. Like a lot of folks are just kind of afraid. They'll go like barely tap on the door and then leave a note. You'll never get anything from that. The purpose of doing the door knocking is for people to start building a relationship with you. So I would say spend as much time as you can there, especially if it looks like someone's home. Spend a little bit more time at those properties. Facebook user, what is your door knocking? What does the door knocking process look like? Are you setting an appointment to meet, or should I go? Should I be going for the full walkthrough and presentation offer? So again, it's consultation up first, right? We're bringing value. How can we help? Right? Oh, we're working with the bank. We always set an appointment. Say, got it. Well, typically, there are 8 options we walk through with our clients, and there may be something else just in case that falls through. Would you be open to looking at other options? Right? Do you have, and then maybe I'll say, like, do you have all your eggs in that one basket? What's the worst case scenario if they don't approve the loan modification? Okay, would you be open to looking at other options just in case that worst case scenario actually happened? Right. So we'll go through it like that. I will set the appointment for another time. I can't really rely on them to let me in their house and do the full shebang right then and there. But we do set the follow-up appointment. We'll go in and we'll start going through the options at that point in time. We'll sit down, and then at that point we know we got their trust, right? And those appointments, we have a really high conversion rate at those appointments. Oh my gosh. Yeah, oh, she said no. Nice, Greg. Yeah, it's the ultimate motivation, man. It changes everything. That's for dang sure. Can you send the scripts? Absolutely, Sam. Just send me an email, mattbeard@vahub.com. We'll make sure, just say door knocking script. Matt said I can get the door knocking script. We'll make sure we get that to you. Love it. Yeah, Ted, I know you were asking about keeping a property in North Carolina. BK, the chapter 13, they could be safe. They could save their property by doing that. But again, before they can sell it, they're going to need to have that dismissed. So they don't have to follow through with that. Again, legal counsel, not my position to tell people what to do, but I know if they really want to save the house and what's best for them, maybe it would be an idea, something to look at, to maybe think about doing a bankruptcy of some sort to save their property. And that will definitely do it. So how do I get motivated sellers to call my business? Well, Facebook user, you can do the more expensive lead sources, right? If you want them to call you, you can do pay-per-click, you can do social media ads, you can do billboards, you can do direct mailers, you can do RVMs, you can do all these things to get people, elicit a response for people to call you. Just understand you're going to be spending a lot more money to do that. So that is certainly an option with marketing, right? Barbara says the price range of the homes in my area are very high and market is very strong. Do I look in other areas, other states? So, I mean, the same thing here in Arizona, right? But are there any lower income areas near you, Barbara? Are there any lower, like, I guess, lower middle class areas? That would probably be where I want to focus. There's typically that in every area, right? So, unless you're in California, it's definitely a hassle to drive. If you're like living like in the city, like in LA or in San Diego, it may make more sense for time purposes to virtually drive for dollars and then give them a call. Let's see. And we actually had someone in San Francisco doing this, and they were just taking the train. They were taking the train to where they wanted to go door knock, and then they just door knock that area, look at the ugly properties, and find the foreclosures in that area. They would walk and door knock, and then they would also sometimes like get like a city bike or something to ride, and they'd go around on their bike and knock on the door. So it can certainly be done in any area. If you're going through having the delay of foreclosure issue, constant close, Rochelle. Yep. So Rochelle has helped us. Like I'll go to the property. I'm like, hey, Rochelle, so we need to get this one extended. Let's get this purchase agreement written up. And if you can call the trustee and the lender, we'll do a 3-way call with the homeowner. They'll provide loan information, and we'll let them know that we are interested. We are buying the property, but we do need an extension. And typically the lender will work with us, Ted. So reach out to Rochelle. She'll be happy to help you too if the homeowner doesn't want to go down that other route. Hey, let's see. Jay says, this is my 5th week door knocking. I've been making progress, but struggle to set an appointment. Any tips to get sellers to at least hear their options? Yeah, Jay. So I think I answered this before I got to it, but you want to get their head wrapped around looking at other things just in case, right? So normally something that I will say, it's like, okay, so you guys are working with the bank doing a loan modification. That is amazing. I think that would be the option number 1 that I would say you guys need to do anyways. Now, did the bank, or did they kind of tell you what would happen, like what that process looks like if they don't approve the loan modification? Do you guys have like a backup plan? No, we said we're going to be good. They said we're working with the bank. Like, well, they yada, yada, yada. We're going to be fine. Got it. Well, I have worked with other homeowners in the past too. There was actually a guy, his name was Rioberto, and he said the same thing. And he had no idea that they could actually kick back the loan modification on things that he didn't even know, right? He needed to have a job. He needed to be current on his taxes and all these things. And he was like, oh my gosh, Matt, now I have 2 weeks before the auction. And like, what are my options, right? So, typically early on, Mr. Seller, Mr. Homeowner, you have a lot more options now than what you do, before it gets too close. I know the banks say they're working with you, and I think that's amazing. But I mean, I don't want the worst case scenario to happen. Would you at least be open to looking at other options if that doesn't work out? Typically, we look at about 8 of them with our clients, right? And I'll just go about it that way, rephrasing their mind, reframing it to that might not work. And it legit, I'm not just saying that to set an appointment, it for real might not work. So, yeah, that's how you should try to approach it that way, Jay. Obviously, throw your own thing on it, use your own flavor, however you want to approach that. But that is how I do it. Launching a door knocking team this weekend. Any tips on prepping my guys? They're new to real estate, ready to hustle. Alexander, bro, that is amazing. First off, number one. Number two, I recommend definitely doing professional development with them at least twice a month and doing weekly check-ins. As far as getting them ready, you can obviously give them the script and give them the idea, but I think they're just going to learn by doing it. And if they're the right people, they are going to, they'll excel. But most times, like, this is a high turnover position. This is a high turnover job because most people will promise you the world, but then they actually see what it takes to get a deal and how hard it is to get someone to open their door and set an appointment. Most people fall off. So it's going to be on you, Alex, to make sure that they're getting the support that they need from you, from coaching, and just making sure that they know you have their back. And they'll be with you for a long time. So good luck, brother. Let me know however I can help you. Disagree on notes not being, that's fine. I'm just telling you not been effective on my behalf. Everyone has their own experience. Just because you made 60K on a note recently, how many notes did you leave? Right? I've left at least 2,000. Oh gosh, way more than 2,000. I have left thousands of notes. Not effective for me. Got to have actual conversations. But hey, man, everyone has their own experience. So I hope I didn't offend you at all. Jay says, are there any other reasons why you won't knock certain homes, such as private road, no trespassing? So we'll still hit the no soliciting people, right? Those folks, we won't knock. Well, we will knock on those for the most part, but we leave it to our door knockers' discretion. For me, I won't trespass. I won't go down a private road. But I will knock on no soliciting. Some of our door knockers won't knock on no soliciting or any of the other things. So I think it's always up to that person's discretion. If you're feeling a little brave, you know what I'm saying? Got to feel a little brave. How does loan modification process look like? How long does it take? What are the steps? So I don't know if it's Neely, but I would say it differs, right? Depending on the lender, depending on the state in which the loan was originated, it really changes. So I would be doing you a disservice if I told you it was always this one way. So I would, number one, either go talk to a lender or some sort of legal counsel who and ask them those questions, and they can inform you a lot better on your state and regulations better than I can. But number one, understanding that those things can fall through. That's the big idea. Not really the specifics and the details, but they can fall through. Rob says, what's up, Rob? Do you guys have a quick little reference that addresses the 8 options? Just some basic info on each so we can explain them. I have a PDF that I could provide to you, Rob, but we don't do that at the door of the first appointment. Typically, our closers will go through those options with the seller. But yeah, I'll be happy to give that to you if you would like to have a copy of it. Just same email, mattbeard@vahub.com. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Guys, this was an awesome live. We almost went for 50 minutes. I was thinking we're going to go like 30, but you guys asked a bunch of awesome questions. What I hope you get from today in these lives is it's Friday. I take, an hour and a half or 48 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, out of what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. And, I can promise you there's no shortage of things to do. We take this time out to make sure you guys are getting value, to make sure that I try to give anything that I possibly can, and I try to deliver it to you guys in some way that maybe today's the day that the information we've talked about gets you at the right time, the right moment, resonates you the best with the right, just some sort of weird story that I tell hits you at the right time to where you're going to start taking action on it. So I hope today's that day for you guys. I hope from the 50, 60, 70 people who watch this live today, something just resonates with you and you start taking some action on it so you can make this thing real. It'll change your life. I can promise you that. Look, I appreciate you guys tremendously. by coming here on Fridays and making this a ton of fun. I love doing this. I love trying to figure out new ways that I can help. If there's anything that you guys want for next week, if there's any questions that you have, please comment below, or comment wherever you're at, whatever social media channel you're at, and we will make sure we address that next week. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Happy freaking Friday. Go start crushing it. Take these things that you learned today, knock on some doors this weekend, and come back next week with some awesome stories to tell. I would love to highlight it. I'd love to bring you guys on with me, and we can talk more about it. So go take some action, and I'll see you next week. Thank you guys. Peace.